that big, ugly stump in your backyard, what are you going to do with it? Do you really have the desire, the ambition, the time to dig around it with a shovel, to swing your axe, to take your saw back and forth, to cut it out piece by piece, chunk by chunk? Are you going to tie a chain around it and hook it up to the four-wheel drive and pop it out like a loose tooth? Just going to dig a big hole around it, dump a bunch of gasoline in there and light a match? You're going to take the chainsaw out and cut it as low to the ground as you can and as level to the ground as you can so that your lawnmower can go over back and forth without hitting anything. All it good. You're going to get creative? Turn it into a bird bath or a table of some kind? Maybe just take the easy way out and grab a pot of geraniums and set it on there. Okay, we're all done. That stump in the backyard, that ugly, brown, dead, lifeless, in the way stump, which is a reminder of the tree that used to grow there. The tree that offered so much shade to the yard and shade to your family. Maybe you had family picnics underneath that tree, and now it's just a stump. Maybe you remember how beautiful that tree looked in the fall, with its reds and its oranges and its yellows. Maybe you can still picture the tire swing that once hung from its branches and that your children, your grandchildren would swing on it, spin around on it. Maybe up in those branches, your children had built a fort, a treehouse. They called it their clubhouse. They spent hours up there. All that's gone. None of that's there. Just this brown, dead, ugly, lifeless stump. And now you're forced to decide what are you going to do with it. There's a stump in Jerusalem, a stump in Judah. It used to be a beautiful tree. Tall, beautiful tree. It was the reign of King David, even his son Solomon. It extended, their kingdom extended the farthest it ever had, the farthest it ever would, from the north to the south. They built a beautiful temple. They were making sacrifices to the Lord. They were worshiping him. But the further they got away from David, the worse the kings became. And the further they went away from the Lord and the temple and the worship and the word, and that tree was starting to die. And that tree was starting to get ugly. And that tree was starting to get dangerous, so God started hacking away at the tree. The year 720, when he took his first swing at that tree, the Assyrians, got all the Assyrians to come in. And those northern 10 tribes of Israel, Syria just wiped them off the face of the earth. They were never seen or heard from again. Another 100 years or so later, God kept whacking away at the trunk of that tree when Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon came in with their first attack. And finally, that tree just toppled over in 586 BC with the last wave of the Babylonians and the destruction of Jerusalem and the leveling of the temple and the son, the great-great-great-grandson of David, no longer on the throne. There it is, a dead, brown, lifeless, ugly stump. And what's God going to do with it? Burn it up? Mulch it up? Cut it up? Bury it? No, instead he looked at it and he made a promise. He said a shoot is going to come up from that dead, brown, lifeless stump. Stump of Jesse, and Jesse's greater son, David's greater son, is going to be that shoot. He's going to rule on his father's throne forever. And that shoot is Jesus Christ. That shoot is our Savior. And Jesus came into the world just as promised. And when he did, he brought wisdom and knowledge and peace and joy and purpose and meaning and direction and ultimately eternal life. But again, we should have seen this. We should have seen this coming because Isaiah told us that chapter 11, a shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse. From his roots, a branch will bear fruit. The Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and of understanding, the Spirit of counsel and of power, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord. And he will delight in the fear of the Lord. He will not judge by what he sees with his eyes or decide by what he hears with his ears. But with righteousness he will judge the needy. With justice he will give decisions for the poor of the earth. He will strike the earth with the rod of his mouth. With the breath of his lips he will slay the wicked. Righteousness will be his belt, and faithfulness the sash around his waist. The wolf will lie down with the lamb. The leopard will lie down with the goat. The calf and the lion and the yearling together. And a little child will lead them. The cow will feed with the bear. Their young will lie down together, and the lion will eat straw like the ox. The infant will play near the hole of the cobra, and the young child put his hand into the nest of the viper. They will neither harm nor destroy on all my holy mountain, for the earth will be full of the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. In that day the root of Jesse will stand as a banner for the peoples. The nations will rally to him, and his place of rest will be glorious. In that day the Lord will reach out his hand a second time to reclaim the remnant that is left over of his people from Assyria, his people from Lower Egypt, from Upper Egypt, from Cush, from Elam, from Babylonia, from Hamath, from the islands of the sea. This is the word of the Lord.